Oh, we're going alright, Clawpaw. Hey everyone, it's Friday night, and you know what that is. It's another night of exciting CR Exposing live streams on the D&D CR Exposed YouTube channel. Man, I gotta figure out a better way to say that. But you know what? It's kind of fun when it's just chaotic anyways. So, let's go! Alright, top of the business, not too much going on. Still have that new little section on the deluxe edition of the CR chart here. Again, we can do PC levels with the con bonus and get their average hit points now for, you know, spells and abilities that just outright kill players. So, you know, you could have 141 hit points and then the monster says, no, you're at 0 now. So that was this month's edition. That's been on there for a little while now and not always going to be useful, but the next big update is going to be extending this monster stats chart here. So this one is going to go from 30 up to at least 50 because, you know, those monsters do be having high DCR sometimes. Good lord. Like, in the 40s generally. So, yeah. So that's going to be the next addition in charts. I'm going to start, you know, looking over and seeing ratios and whatnot. But, I think that's pretty much the business. There is this Monday, I forgot, is the 4th of July for us here in the United States, which is a holiday. So I will be live streaming at 2 o'clock instead of 6 p.m. like I was initially going to. So once again, we will have a 2 p.m. live stream, Eastern Standard Time, so please adjust your clocks wherever you are in the world. And I think that's it. I think I'm good now. That's all the news, the top of the business. Let's get into this as we have Zareth Menyar Ag Gith, a Gith wizard brought to us by the one and always Clorox, and we also have a second up with the Wellow Corpseer by Clawpaw. They're both in the chat here, so you know, if you're in the chat, why not say hi? Anyways, let's take a look at Clorox's, since, you know, Clorox put his request into the Discord first, and if you haven't joined the Discord, why not? It's in the chat section here. You know, I've pinned it, so stop by and say hello. You've watched a live stream. Congratulations, thank you. Anyways, with that, let's get right into it. I've probably said that way too many times now. Okay, our Gith wizard, or Zareth, as I will probably just call them Zareth now, has an armor class of 24 based off of Psionic Bastion. That is a lot going on there. And that's going to give our Gith here a total of 24 AC. They are medium humanoid and with 60 hit dice. They have 20 constitution and should be a CR 30. We'll see what happens. There's, let's see here, we have 4 saving throws, Dex, Con, Intelligence, and Charisma. So we will bump that up to a +2 effective AC. And then we have damage resistance to force. We don't have to worry about that, especially since it's over CR 16 anyways. And then we have damage immunities of poison, psychic, bludgeoning, piercing, ooh, excuse me, and slashing from non-magical attacks. So that one we will add in that for an extra 25% hit point bonus, giving us right now an extra 142 effective hit points just from that bump. So they've already gone from 570, tacking on 142 to give us 712 effective hit points right now. And that's it from the monster skill section. We will go down into the monster stats now and take a look at some items we've seen before and some that will be new. So we have Psychic Resilience. We know this one, the Gith wizard here can, you know, sack 2 legendary actions to succeed at a saving throw. Since legendary actions will probably be used more often than this resilience, we are going to skip over that. We could potentially look into that, but that's just going to really kill the extra damage, and that will only give us really 30 effective hit points for the one time we get to use that. So it's not really a good, well, it could be a clutch move. We'll just put it at that. Something I probably wouldn't use too often unless it was going to shut down my Gith here, like a stun. Like we saw in the, you know, the last Monster vs. Monster live stream of the Mind Flayers and the Gith. That stun, oof, if that you know, Gith Yankee Knight had Psychic Resilience, might have been a different story for that poor guy. Anyways, let's take a look at Strike at the Mind. The Gith here, weapon attacks are considered magical and deal an extra 22 psychic damage on a hit included in the attack. Additionally, whenever the Gith deals psychic damage to a creature normally immune, it is instead resistant. Whenever is normally resistant, it instead is not resistant. So it just really brings those down, which is cool. Alright, so since the Strike at the Mind is included in the attacks, which is an appropriate place to put them, we won't worry about this one until later on. Now we have Psionic Bastion. The Gith wizard constantly emits a field of psychic energy that benefits himself and hinders his adversaries. The Gith adds his intelligence modifier to his AC, so that was the AC bump there. Uses his intelligence score to determine his weapon attacks and damage rolls, and whenever a creature makes a spell attack against him, it does so with advantage. Let's see here. And whenever a creature makes a spell attack against him, it does so with disadvantage. Excuse me. Additionally, creatures that start their turns within 120 feet of the Gith can't be resistant to force damage. Let's see here. It'd be a good night if that sigh was triggered all the time. Yeah, no kidding. For sure. So, let's see here. We have a little bonus in here for any spell attacks against him. If so, they are done with disadvantage. So, spell attacks would be very infrequent. I might give this an extra +1 effective AC bonus because of that disadvantage to spells. We don't know how often we would see spell attacks come through, and there's likelihood that the enemy casters would use area of effects such as fireballs or lightning bolts and whatnot that would make him roll a spell save. So for that, I'm just going to say with Psionic Bastion, on top of already having a high AC, maybe +1 effective AC. But, yeah, we'll just throw it in there just for the heck of it. It may not disrupt him too much. We'll see what happens. So we'll come down here to the little extra AC section, throw that in, and then we will continue on with Disruptive Field. The wizard, let's see here. Oh yeah, I didn't do this one yet. Okay. Immense psionic powers hinders those that attempt to use magic against him. Whenever a creature of the wizard's choice casts a spell within 120 feet of him, it must first make a Constitution save, as if concentrating on the spell. On failed saving throws, the affected creature is unable to cast the spell and must use its action, bonus action, or reaction to do something else. On a successful save, an affected creature takes 22 psychic damage. Okay, so on a failed save, they lose being able to do the spell, which I'm wondering, that would probably also kill the spell slot, I would think. And then if they fail, if they pass the save, then they take 22 points of psychic damage. So generally speaking, when we look at the monster here, we are going to expect it to be getting the failed thing all the time, so we won't worry about the extra damage from passing. But if we fail, they must do something else with its action, bonus action, reaction. So they still are able to use their actions, which is good. They just can't cast a spell. So what are we doing with this? Extended spell meta magic. Probably. What are we going to do about this disruptive field? It's only spellcasters. It stops them from using it. They can still do something else. Maybe like use a magic item. So I'm not really going to give disruptive field anything because there's still a possibility to do something else. They just can't cast a spell. They can use their action to maybe attack with their dagger or use a magical object, something else. Maybe they have a staff they can cast a spell from that instead. We'll see what happens. So that one I'm going to say no effect from the looks of things. So we'll move on. We have a multi-attack. Let's see here. The wizard uses Mind Shattering Palm if available, Spellcasting, or Telekinetic Grasp. He then makes 2 unarmed strikes. Okay. Very cool. Let's see here. We have +17 to hit. And then what else do we have here? DC 25s. What's going to happen more often? Well, for the moment, I'm just going to put in the attack bonus of 17 to hit, and we will figure that out in a little bit here. So the unarmed strike is going to deal 18 bludgeoning damage, plus an additional 22 psychic damage. If the target is a creature, it suffers one of the following additional effects. If the target is pushed 15 feet back, falling prone, shock the system, target can't take reactions until the end of the turn, or the target succeeds on a Constitution saving throw, or be stunned until the end of the next turn on a failed save. Ooh, that is interesting. Generally speaking, I would probably stick with the Stunning Blow all the time, especially with a DC 25 con save, and then being stunned until the end of the next turn. That is a lot. That's pretty good right there. And I would add in the 9 effective hit points for that, because it would be 11 for a stun condition. That's 27. We divide that by 3 rounds. 9 effective hit points. So we'll go for there. And for that, let's see here. To be fair, anyone facing this caliber of an enemy would likely be facing him in a lair. Very true. Very true indeed. Let's see here. After that, we have Telekinetic Grasp. And this one is, let's see here. The wizard lashes out with a psionic power, forcing each creature of his choice within 60 feet to make a strength save or be grappled and restrained. Until the grapple is broken, while grappled and restrained in this manner, an affected creature takes 34 force damage at the start of each of its turns as the wizard mind crushes its form. Nice. I just like the way that sounds. That's really funny. Okay, so we're going to more than likely get 2, so we'll add in 2 more AC here. So we'll say we'll do the 1 plus an additional 2 for that. For 2 people failing the Telekinetic Grasp, and then eventually we will have 34 force damage. So what I'm going to do for that is, since it's at the next 2 rounds, I'm going to throw this into the Swallow, which does the same type of thing. So we're expecting 2 creatures to take the damage, so it'll be 34 or 2 failed saves worth of damage. 34 times 2 for a total of 68, which will give us an additional 90 DPR for all 3 rounds of combat for this this grasp, and possibly 2 more rounds of damage before they are able to break free. And then we have a whole bunch of spell casting. Blur, Catapult, Detect Magic, Detect Thoughts, Magic Missile, Confusion, Dispel Magic, Dominate Monster, Greater Invisibility, Hold Monster, Scatter, which I might want to look into, Astral Projection, Etherealness, Feeble Mind, Forced Cage, Foresight, and Psychic Scream. We'll come back to these spellcasting things, as I generally like to see what happens before we get into the spellcasting, if need be, and we'll skip that for now. So, Mind Shattering Palm. We have a recharge of 5 to 6. The wizard empowers his palm with pure psionic energy and attempts to strike at a creature's mind directly. The wizard makes an unarmed strike at a creature within range. The AC of the target for this attack is 10 plus its intelligence modifier. On a hit, the target suffers the effects and damage of the unarmed strike plus an extra 55 psychic damage, and it must succeed a 25 intelligence save. On a failed save, an affected creature's intelligence score is reduced to 1 until it receives magical healing of 8th level or higher. Oh, that's wrong. On a successful save, an affected creature's intelligence score is reduced by 1d4 until the end of the wizard's next turn. That could potentially kill a player, because they're going to have their intelligence drop by 1, and then if this recharges by chance on rounds 2 or 3, or some other time later on, 4, 5, or 6, and then they hit and they somehow save, they're going to take a d4 of intelligence saving throw, intelligence damage, and then because they're at 1, it's going to drop them to 0, and they'll die. Just saying. There's a small chance that'll happen, but, you know, just like they say about cats, how's that meme go? Like, there's a small chance of your cat's killing you, but it's never 0. Insert creepy look, laser cat eyes there. Okay, so we are going to, for the Mind Shattering Palm, we're going to add in 1 unarmed strike for that, which is 40 plus an additional 55 damage. And then, in theory, we would also be doing a whole load of effective damage as well, because of the intelligence dropping, on average, probably, I'd say, 12 to 14. So there's a effective 14, damage as well for the intelligence dropping to 1. So I would also throw that in for effective damage. We'll go with 13. Round it off at a nice 13. Okay. Next we have bonus actions for Sidestep. And the wizard takes the dash, disengage, or dodge action in any order. Then teleports to an unoccupied space he is aware of within 60 feet of him. Oh, wow. Dash, disengage, and dodge. in any order. Wow. Okay. Ooh. So he's going to disengage from the current opponent, have advantage on not being hit on any creatures he runs past, has a whole load of space he can run, which is going to be 60 feet or 40 feet flying, and then he teleports an additional 60 feet. That's absurd. I love it. Oh man, that is really funny. Okay, so I think 120 feet is close to the Thunder Step, which is usually what? What do I usually use here? Blink. There we go. 27 effective DPR for that bonus action. And that will be 67, so we'll add in 67 there for that. So we'll have 9 plus 67. And then what do we have after that? Let's see here. Don't fight demigods. They tend to win. That's very true. Oh, man. Okay. Reactions. We have Telekinetic Shield as a reaction to taking damage. The wizard can reduce the damage dealt by 35. If this reduces the damage to 0, each creature of the wizard's choice within 30 feet of him takes 11 force damage and push 20 feet back. Okay, so there is a very good chance of being hit by any kind of damage, obviously, be it ranged weapons, melee weapons, ranged spells, melee spell attacks or whatever, however you want to say it. So we can say that this reaction once per round will basically give him an extra 35 on average hit points. So we'll add that in as well. And then within 30 feet, there's easily going to be 2 people within 30 feet, or enough for two failed saves worth of damage. So that's an extra 22 points of damage right there each round for the reaction. And then after that, we have a whole bunch of legendary actions as well. We have Strike, and the wizard can use... Oops, I've moved some stuff around. Let's see here. The wizard can use its Strike 3 times, as per usual. So we will take that 40 and times it by 3 for 120 damage. Sonic Will, for 2 points, can use Spellcasting or Telekinetic Grasp. And we haven't quite figured out the best route for Spellcasting here, so we will leave that blank for the time being. And then legendary action number 3, Shatter the Mind. The wizard recharges or uses his mind-shattering palm action. Okay. So we had something like this with the other creature where I was trying to figure out the best route of how to do this. And let's see here. So the mind-shattering palm, in essence, could deal up to 108 points of damage. Let's see what we have for a multi-attack, because right now, actually, the strikes are doing more damage. So unless we really need to drop someone's intelligence score down to 1, we can just skip the mind shatter as well, or shatter the mind ability there. Alright, let's put together a multi-attack without spellcasting at first. And while I'm getting to it, Clorox, if you want to let me know what spells in particular you used, that would help me a whole bunch. I'm guessing probably Feeble Mind and Psychic Scream. Foresight, I know, can do something with, like, avoiding death. I believe. I'd have to look that one up. Alright, so what do we have for our multi-attack here? Mind-Shattering Palm, Spellcasting, or Telekinetic Grasp. And the Telekinetic Grasp was... what are we doing here? Yeah, we would definitely use that for 34 points of damage. We're doing that twice for 68 points of damage. Although we might take that out because... oh, no, we can use it. Oh, yeah, we would definitely be using it. Honk Honk, hello! It has been a while. Good to see you. Thanks for joining the stream. And we are partway through Clorox's Demigod Gith Wizard here. Oh, it's okay, Honk Honk. I believe you. Work is starting to ramp up for me now that everyone's coming back from vacation. Okay. As for our multi-attack, we were using Mind-Shattering Palm, Spellcasting, or Telekinetic Grasp. So the first one, obviously, we would do is just throw in that Mind-Shattering Palm. We would use that. And then we would have 2 unarmed strikes. That times 2. And then after that, it would be Yeah, then we would start doing the other attacks there, which we can get in for 2 rounds. Foresight bumps his DCR to even higher levels. Psychic Scream would be very debilitating, and Scatter is great control, but I don't have the DPR for all the spells at my disposal. Okay. If you offhand, do you know the spell levels? It'll save me a bunch of time looking it up in my chart here. Oh, my cat's looking at some bugs that have gotten into the room. Hopefully he's not going to make a mess. Okay, so round 1 would be that, and then the regular multi-attack would just be this times 2, because then we would also be doing the telekinetic grasp. We would have 2 telekinetic grasps, which is perfectly fine. Oh, Dexter, please don't. Oh, man. He's going after a moth. Alright, so let's see here. Scatter 6th, Foresight, and Psychic Scream are 9th. Perfect, thank you. Let me grab those while we're looking at it. So Scatter is, let's see here, 77 effective DPR. Okay. And then we have Foresight at 82 effective. And finally, we have the Scream at 98 DPR. Okay. Oh yeah, 98 DPR. You better believe it. Okay. So then, we probably won't use Telekinetic Grasp, because the amount of damage is actually much less than the spell casting, so we would probably throw that in place of it. So we can take that out. So let's get rid of the damage for Telekinetic Grasp. And then also, actually, we'll get to that in a moment. I want to see what this is like before we get into spellcasting, like I'd said before. Okay, so round 1, we would do the Mind-Shattering Palm, plus 2 multi-attacks of Unarmed Strike, and then on top of that, we would do 3 more Unarmed Strike attacks, 420 there. And then after that, rounds 2 and 3, without any spellcasting, would be that plus this. And yeah, we'll just copy round 2 because that is the same. Okay, so it ends at DCR 30, hence why I'm building out the chart next time, so we can actually go further and see what the actual numbers are. We have, let's see here, effective hit points of 823. So 823 is right where it's supposed to be. Perfect. Okay, so we are base DCR 30, which is good. We do have an effective AC of 29, though, which is 10 over, so that would be a bump of DCR 30 to 35. So our DCR would be, I'll just put the 35 there. And then we have an effective, let's see here, effective DPR of 348. 348 bumps us up into the next bracket of 31. So let me go over to my temporary extended chart here. We're looking for 341, I believe. And let's see here. Oh, no, it actually gets us into DPR. Here we go, yeah. No, I'm wrong. I was right, yeah. No, I'm wrong. Excuse me. It's 321 to 338, and then 339 to 356. So our OCR is a 32 base. And, you know, well, at this point, you know, it still would probably be 14. All right, let me put this down here for now. Actually, this would probably be 20 at this point. So we'll say actually 34 for the DCR. And then where am I going from here? I got to figure out how many DC. All right, it would be what? The first round, it would be 1 DC check, 2 DC checks, plus some strikes and a whole bunch of other strikes. Yeah, we're going to leave the attack bonus because he's going to be hitting more often than he's doing anything else. Like with telekinetic grasps, it would be 2, 3, and then it would be 2, and then a whole bunch of those. So yeah, 17's fine, which is 3 over, so that's just plus 1. So actually he has a higher DCR, which I believe is expected. So we are going to have that as a 33. So his final CR with the rough estimates for the extended chart would actually be a 34 without looking at him without the immunities. So right now we're looking at, you know, if players are rolling up on him and hitting his immunities and some of his resistances, we're probably looking at a CR34 a Gith Wizard, which is cool. Now let's adjust this for the immunities. Let's get rid of the immunities. The players have bypassed it with magical weapons. That drops his defenses all the way down to a 27, which would then bump that up to +5 now because we're actually at a 19. The OCR stays at 33, which is fine. And then we would be, let's see here, that would just be 31. So then 31 and 33. So without immunities, he is 32. CR32 Gith Wizard. Demigod. So there you go. In theory, if your players don't all have magical weapons, you could average that out and say CR33 because of the balance between the two. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at it now if we incorporate a whole bunch of spellcasting. We've got a few more minutes for that. Alright, so we will get rid of the telekinetic grasp because we're going to be doing that. We're going to get rid of the bonus armor class as well, so we don't have to worry about that either. Let's clear those out. And then we are looking at, we'll go with what Clorox had suggested with Scatter, Foresight, and Psychic Scream. I just got to see if these are concentrations or not because I forgot to look at that. Scatter is not, it's an action. Psychic Scream is just a quick action. And then the other one was Foresight, I believe, which is also... Oh, yeah, that would be set up beforehand, though. But that's fine because... let's see here. Casting time 1 minute. I don't have the duration, which is fine. I don't really need the duration. So Foresight would be set up beforehand, obviously, as a contingency plan. So we can add in 82 effective DPR for that. Convert it to effective hit points. For 205. And then plus 205 there. We could still then do something else. We would do technically two... Well, let me see here. Foresight would be set up beforehand. We could possibly do Feeble Mind if we needed. Or Dominate Monster as well. What else would be good? Scatter, we're adding that in. Greater Invisibility could be fun. Because we haven't used our concentration yet. So Greater Invisibility actually would be pretty handy as well. Oh, which one's that? Clorox. That he can cast as an action. I'm going to have a sip while I wait for the answer. Okay. Oh, Foresight. Okay. Well, that helps then. What is the, let me see something real quick here. I'm going to look at my side thing for Foresight. The duration is 8 hours. So yeah, I mean, in theory, if the Gith knows damage, you know, if this wizard knows that someone's coming to get him, he could just have it done beforehand, before battle starts. So right off the bat, that's already in play, giving us the extra DCR there. So I would say I would have that in the old spellcaster things. Like if you look at the Archmage, there'd be like a little asterisk, and it would say cast before battle, just like Mage Armor always set up before technically battle started anyways. So we'll say Foresight was set up at some point during the main part of the day. And then we would use Psychic Scream, which is 98, and we also have Scatter for 77, so let's add in the Scatter there for 192 effective DPR, or hit points I should say. And why not use Greater Invisibility? Greater Invisibility is always a fun one. We could add that in. You know, we don't drop... You know, I have a hard time saying that this is as good as Superior Invisibility that the Pixies can do. I honestly think it's better, especially since we can fold that in with all the other stuff. You know, having this wizard all of a sudden become invisible and moving around and not losing the Greater Invisibility during combat, that's actually, to me, a +4. I believe this is better than Superior Invisibility than the Pixies. So I'm going to go with... I don't think we have just a +4 for AC here. So I'm going to throw that in here. So we'll use Greater Invisibility just for the fun of it, to really throw the players off. And let's get these damage going with the spellcasting in mind. So round 1, we would use our first spellcasting bonus from the multi-attack, I would say, since I want to use the legendary strikes because it does more damage technically than the effective DPR. So we will use that in place. So round 1, we'll say we'll set up superior invisibility. And then we also do 2 strikes of this plus that. All right, so we have 200 there. Then round 2, we would do scatter, or we would do the other spell as well of, let's see here. Oh, okay. I am not too familiar with Foresight, obviously. All right, so I will take that off then. What do we got for a better spell then? That we could use. Hold monster or dominate monster maybe, or something with maybe something we can use for our concentration. Force cage. Force cage could be good. Let's see here. Is that a? That's a 7th level. Casting time 1 action. Let's use that one. We'll say we'll do a force cage as 1, just for the heck of it. 84 effective DPR. 210. Alright, plus 210. We have a whole bunch of effective hit points going on here, so not too terribly worried about it. Alright, so we have our 3 spells set up, and then everything else is pretty much just going to be massive hits. But we will use the one Mind Shatter as well, because it does deem using it. So plus that in, plus in those, and then we will repeat round 1. Oh wow. Okay, so because of the limitations on our chart here, technically he is a air quotes CR29. But let's actually take a look at the effective hit points of roughly 1,288. And let's see where this goes now. So we're looking for 1,288 in my rough chart down here. For hit points, 1,288. Okay, so that would be, I think it's DC. Yeah, it's DCR 40 because this is the high end. So we're looking at a DCR 40 with probably an expected AC of 20, maybe even 21 at that point. And we are looking at, what, 27 for effective AC? So 20 or 21, it doesn't really matter. That's still going to be a 6 or 7 difference. So we're looking at a +3 bump from that. And that will put us from a 40 to a 43. So we're looking at 43, let's see here. 43 plus 28, we got 71. And then we'll take that 71 and average that out. Nope, not multiply it. Divide by 2 for 35.5. And then we round up to CR 36, and we're not even including in immunities here. I forgot to include immunities. So that's 1430 with immunity. Ooh, excuse me, with immunities. 1430. Let's find that 1430. Oh, what do you know? It's right there. 43. So 43 plus an additional 3 would be 46. All right, so he bounces back and forth between a 37 and a 36 with all these heavy spell casting. So if we want a super tank, go that route. If we want, you know, a slightly more aggressive wizard that does more damage, ignore the spell casting. But even then, on top of that, we could still add in the foresight for our more melee heavy wizard there, and still have probably a higher DCR by a little bit. Okay, that's a thing. All right. I mean, technically, it's not wrong. You got, you know, the CR is correct at CR 30, but with the limitations on this silly chart, man. Yeesh. Okay. So, you know, averaged between the two different fighting styles, maybe as, what did we say, 33, and then we averaged that one out to 37, 36, yeah, probably 37. So we're probably looking at, you know, an average CR out of everything that it can do of a 35. Yeah, that's a chunker for sure, Clawpaw. Woof. Yikes. Okay. Let's clear that one out and pop over to Clawpaw's monster and see where this takes us. Okay. Take a moment here and take a quick sip. Hot days. Gotta stay hydrated. Okay. Okay. Alright, thank you, Clorox. As always, those are very interesting monsters and fun ones. They're all fun. I enjoy always looking at custom homebrews from everyone. So let's take a look at what Clawpaw is bringing us tonight. With a CR5 medium beast. Maybe not as chunky, but will still be fun to look at. Okay, let's start right from the top. We have a medium beast, Chaotic Evil, with an armor class of 15. And let's see here. That is going to be medium, like I said, 12d8 with, looks like, no constitution bonus. Actually, we have a -1. So that actually does take into effect Clawpaw. So we put in the constitution bonus of 9. We have a -1, which brings our average hit points down from the 64 to a 42. If we want to avoid that, we could put this back up to maybe like a 10. And that'll bring us to 54 for the 12d8 plus 0 there. For that. Yep, negative modifiers do take into effect even for hit points. Good example, I think, is Pixies. Pixies, I think, have a negative stat block. I know, I think even kobolds do too, if we were to take a look at the kobold stat block. Exactly, Clorox, who knows what'll happen. Yeah, high CRs are obscene, especially when it gets into spellcasting. Oh, spellcasting is rough. All right, let me throw in the stats here for 15 strength, 18 dex. We'll leave the constitution at 10, just to fix that so we have closer to the hit points of the 64. Although we could bump that up to get closer. So let's take a 13. No, that's one. Let's try 14. Okay, that's close enough. So with a 14 hit dice, we'll get to that 63 you were looking for. Otherwise, with a 9, we just have to add more hit dice. For instance, if we do this, then we will add in, like, I don't know, go to 18 hit dice, and sure enough, now we have, again, the 63 hit points on average. So if the one thing that this is doing is that we are getting a whole bunch of hit dice, which is good. We're just having a rougher con save, if that comes into play for spells and whatnot. After that, we have an intelligence of 16, wisdom 6, and charisma 18. Oh, sorry about that. My ring whacked the pop filter. 2 saving throws, so we have no bonus there. We have a couple skills. We have damage resistance to radiant and fire. Only 2, so we will skip over that. Then we have senses, languages, environments, and so on. We can skip through those. Spellcasting. The Wellow Corpseer can cast the greater invisibility and major image spells, at will without any components. When casting these spells, the creature ignores the spell's duration. When casting these spells and the Corpseer is getting hit by an attack, the spell ends. Okay. Interesting. I wonder how we could add those in. False appearance does nothing, and flyby does nothing as well. Although it does help prevent attacks of opportunity, but ironically enough, it says no. There's no benefit for flyby, surprisingly. Okay, so we will skip through that, and we come down to the attacks. We have a multi-attack of, let's see here. Oh, hold up. The lore to this monster is that it kills a humanoid and imitates its screams so that others may rush to help, which then again gets eaten. Ah, very cool. Reminds me of a movie I saw not too long ago. Well, a while ago, actually. Many years ago. Older movie. Anyways, the Corpseer makes 2 attacks, one with its bite and one with its wings. Okay, so what do we have? We have a +7 to attack. Remember when I used to be notorious for forgetting the attack bonus? Got over that. The movie was the second Hunger Games movie, when Katniss has to go into the games again. Skinwalker vibes. True. I could see that. The birds that were in the second games, in the clock circle thing that would mimic the screams. What were they called? Mockingjays? The Mockingjays that could mimic people's screams, and then they just basically attacked them. Yep, there you go. Alright, bite attack. We have, let's see here. Let's work this out just for the heck of it. 2d10. And the modifier is a +4, so we are using dexterity. Okay, for a total of 15, very good. And the wing attack is going to be 2d6 plus dexterity. And that'll be bludgeoning damage for a total of 11. Perfect. Okay. So we'll go ahead and grab that there, and grab that one there for our attacks. Though I took inspiration from the Corpse Dweller from Made in Abyss. Oh, well, that's even better then. Let me see here. Something real quick. Corpse. Okay. Made in Abyss. I don't know that one. That's cool, though. Alright. We have 2 attacks. Oh, I also missed a saving throw or be knocked prone. So the better option would technically be to do the wing attack first and then go in for the bite, because we have that option. And technically, since we have that ability to knock someone prone, we would get 1 attack off of that. So I would think maybe give it +1 attack bonus, because of we have the ability to get in there, do the wings, and then do the bite, which is a good idea. So that would give us advantage on the bite attack. So I will throw in +1 attack there, as per, you know, pack tactics. I could throw it down in the bottom here too. It doesn't really matter. It's just marking it for the +1 effective attack bonus. And then we have some reactions here. We have spellcasting. As a bonus action, the Well Corpseer can cast Greater Invisibility or Major Image without any components. Okay, Greater Invisibility. Probably going to be the route I use, because that is going to be, as I was saying before with the Geth Wizard, better than wait, I'm looking at the wording here. A reaction. I would just change this from reactions to say bonus actions, and then say, you know, you could totally just dump that out there. That one's supposed to... Oh, okay, you caught just what I was getting to. Okay. So yeah, I would say Greater Invisibility is probably going to be better than Major Image. Where is Major Image, though? Let me see. Major Image is what spell level? 3rd level? Probably not that much better, because the Greater Invisibility is going to be +4 effective AC. This is only 27 DPR. 27 is worth what? 67 effective hit points? Well, we'll see what happens. One or the other could be worthwhile. Let me check one more thing here. Reading Major Image. You create an image of an object, creature, some visible phenomenon that's larger than 20 feet. The image appears at the spot that you can see within range and lasts for duration. As long as you're within the range, cause you move. It could be a distraction. I don't know how effective Major Image could be in combat. I'm sure there are plenty good places to use it. But for the time being, I will say Greater Invisibility, since we can do it as a bonus action. Certainly use it all the time. +4 AC right there. If not almost +5. Okay, so we have that done. Let's get in these attacks here, and we'll throw in both the beak, or the bite attack, and the wings for 26, and then we will simply do that every round of combat with our Greater Invisibility setup. So we're looking at, looks like CR4 Clawpaw. Almost got that Moth, Dexter. We are actually a little under, which is surprising. I wasn't expecting under. Okay, so we have an overrated monster here. What can we do to increase this? Well, just for the heck of it, let's see what happens if we pop in before we do anything else. Let's get rid of the greater invisibility and throw in the 67 effective hit points here for major image. Maybe we do somehow use this and it's effective in combat. So with greater image, now we can get a wait, how is that working out? Wait, did I put that? Let me see here. What did I put that in? Extra hit points, 67. Pack tactics. Why all of a sudden is this up to a 5? What did I do wrong here? Oh, oh, I see. That was always a 5. Okay, so I guess major image technically could work. I don't know how well you could apply it in combat, to be honest. If it was set up beforehand and could be used to intimidate or throw creatures off, that might be helpful. But I would definitely be using greater invisibility more so than the others. So I'll stick with that. And then we can just simply bump up the the damage here a little bit and make this a stronger hitter. Do more damage and whatnot. So if we go to, let's say, 3 each, that'll bump it up a little bit. If we go to 4, if we go to, you could do either 3d6 or, 3 or even 4 technically. Or the better route technically would be, because to keep in line with monsters, you would want to add in some kind of like force damage or something. We could say maybe these birds do some kind of, necrotic damage on top of that. Idea is to lure them in with major image and then start a surprise attack. Okay, cool, yeah. That makes sense. I like that. So let's see here. If we were to add in like necrotic damage to the attacks, since they're beasts, maybe it's poison damage. I don't know. Some kind of extra damage instead of bumping up the damage dice themselves. Let's say we add in 2d6 just for the heck of it. Let's see what happens here with each attack getting an additional 2d6. Let's see here. Plus that and plus that. That could work. Yeah. If you add in an additional 2d6 of some kind of damage type. What happens if we do that? Yeah, 1 to 2d6. True, they lose quite a bit of blood. There you go. So, 1 to 2d6 added on top of the damage there, and then you got yourself a CR5 really easy. Okay, that was nice and quick. Do we have any other recommendations, or we could potentially look at something from my waiting list of monsters here? I have... These ones I've already done. These ones are coming up next week. I do have these ones in the queue waiting to go through. And what's coming up for my battle tactics as well. Hello, Dexter. Yes, get neck scratches. Let's see here. Could do a waiting list, or you could do one of the Githzerai. Sure. Any of the printed Githzerai Clorox? We could do one of those. That'd be fine. Well, let's see here. Yeah, you know what? Let's take a look at the Githzerai Enlightened from the Monsters of the Multiverse. Did I do that one already? I think I did that one already. The Zerths are the more interesting ones. Oh, okay. From the Monster Manual. Alright, yeah. Let's do that one. That'll be a quick one. Alright, Monster Manual. Githzerai Zerth. Let me pull that book up real quick. Ooh, get over there. Books. Oh, gotta double click. There we go. Monster Manual. Okay. And I need page 162. Githzerai Monk and a Githzerai Zerth. one is which. That's probably the monk. Alright, so we have our Glossary Zerth over here. And I will put that in here since we are looking at that now. Okay. Clear that out. And let's start from the top. Alright. What do we got here? CR6 monster. Let's throw that in. Well, humanoid. And 17 AC with 13... Oh, wrong. There we go. Now we have 13 hit dice. Constitution bonus of 15. Yes, I think I did. I looked at the Enlightened from the in an older one, and then yeah, now they've updated it. So I would be curious to see the multiverse version of it and how it's changed at some point. I might do that some point online. Pumpkin, you'll have to wait. He's on the window outside of my house. Okay. Let's see here. What am I at now? We got the Constitution bonus in. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 saves. Man, 4 saves. Okay. Plus 2 AC bonus there. Nothing else really to worry about. We do have some innate spellcasting of Mage Hand, Featherfall, Jump, See Invis, and Shield, which we can do 3 times. So we will definitely be doing that. We'll throw that in. And where are you hiding? It'd be helpful if I wasn't looking at the monsters. And then we have 1 each of Phantasmal Killer and Plane Shift. Alright, let me take a look at Phantasmal Killer on my side here. Phantasmal Killer is a 4th level spell, concentration. Does a whole bunch of damage. Okay, that would probably be handy, so let me go ahead and pull that in. And we're looking at 22 DPR on top of it being concentration. So I'll throw that on the side here. And then we have Psychic Defense, which was already counted in for the armor class. And then we just simply have a multi-attack. The Glossary makes 2 unarmed strikes, and those unarmed strikes have a +7 to hit. And we have, let's see here, 11 damage plus 13.5 psychic damage. And we make 2 of those attacks for a total of 49 damage. Okay. Now, just to double check Phantasmal Killer, you tap into the nightmares of a creature. You can see that creates an illusionary manifestation of its deepest fears. At the end of the target's turn, before the spell ends, the target must succeed on a wisdom save or take that much damage. So yes, definitely going to be using that once, because that will be like compounded interest, so to say. So let's take a look at this before we throw in Psychic Defense, and then what happens after that. So if we were to just take this times 3 for 3 rounds of combat, we are looking at a CR7 Glossary Zerth. Alright, now let's take a look and throw in the Phantasmal Killer as our first action. So action number 1 is going to be that. And we don't want to multiply that by 2. Actually, what we could do is just multiply that times 3 for each round of combat. And then on top of that, we can take the multi-attack and times that by 2. And we end up, again, with the CR7 Zerth. So we have an underrated monster. First overleveled and now underleveled. Yeah, it happens. Our Zerth here is a little stronger than it's supposed to be, with or without the Phantasmal Killer. Definitely much stronger with the Phantasmal Killer. But, yeah, I think if we were to nix the shield... There we go. I think I may have seen something like this beforehand. Nix the shield usage, and there's your quick fix. Now we have a CR6 Zerth, which is definitely something you would probably want to consider to get that right where it needs to be. Alright, well, there we go. Let me take a note on that one. That was supposed to be a CR6. I mean, again, once you get past, you know, round 4, if the Zerth is still around, you get to round 4, then the Zerth will drop down into that range, but they still started out, you know, at CR7. It just starts to average down the longer this Zerth lives. Let's see here. Did I do it? I don't think I did. Nope, there it is. Okay, cool. Okay, so we found... What did we find? 687. So 687, and it's underrated. Oh, get out of here, bug. Underrated. Quick fix. Don't use shield. There you go. And then I will add that in for my my videos for next week. Nice and simple. Cool. Well, that brings us up to 10:55. We got 5 minutes before the hour here, and I think I will just hang out for a few minutes and you know, chat with y'all, because anything else might take way too long to get into. So like any good, you know, live stream or campaign, I will say we can look at those other monsters next week. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. Clawpaw, Clorox, and my cousin Mike, as well as Hong Kong. Thank you all for joining me tonight on this late Friday evening for some CRs exposed. We took a look at Clorox's chunky Gith's Wizard there, and then we looked at the overrated beast, the bird beast there. That is kind of like a Mockingjay from. Similar to that from like the Hunger Games. And then we took a look at the printed Gith's Rise Earth. Oh, the PC to CR streams, that was just kind of like a one-off. I don't know if I will have the time to do anything like that again. It would be nice. I would certainly like to do something like that. Maybe we could switch out the CRs for monsters, and we could do players. Maybe bounce that back and forth. But I don't know if I'll be able to fit in any other time for that. Oh, no problems. I would like to do it again. So I might do it with alternating streams, because as it's going with the new books from, you know, what was it? The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, the Spelljammer books. It seems like right around the Witchlight book is when they started to actually taking the CR numbers seriously and starting to really get those closer to their printed value. So there may not be a need for that in the future. We'll see what happens with, you know, 5e or the new edition of like 5.5 or 6th edition, whatever they're going to call the next book series coming out in 2 years. Well, technically 1.5 maybe. So I might have to start looking at converting players to monsters unless they change how that works in the next system as well. So who knows? Yeah, we'll see how the maybe the Discord would like to take a vote on that. I'm always, if you're this far into the video, and you know, for those that are hanging out with me live right now, I always like to throw questions up on the Discord. I'm currently talking to the Discord about maybe doing the CRs earlier in the afternoon instead of doing them so late. You know, we'll see what happens. I know I have some European viewers here that are getting up really early in the morning to come watch Clawpaw, and if I can do it a little earlier in my day, it might be easier for them, you know, for them. I don't know. So I am just snowballing some ideas, you know, doing some workshops on ideas of possibly moving some stuff around. Who knows? Everything might stay the same. Really depends. So yeah, thank you all again for joining me. This is me, Andrew, as always, saying, are your encounters even rated? Thank you all for watching and live streaming with me. You guys are all awesome as always, and I will see you next time. Have a good night, everyone. Take care, and have fun in D&D. Yeah, that's true. Midnight is friendlier. You're very welcome, Clawpaw. Good night, everyone.